Alright, so basically what we're going to do today is draw out this drawing here, which is going to be like, it almost looks like a keyhole. We're going to start with the red line. That's our main one. We can offset these parts to do a 2D drawing, and then we can do the 3D, which will be pretty simple. It's pretty much creating a circle and using the revolve command. So basically what we want to do is create a circle, but before we do that, I want to make sure that I create that circle at the 0, 0 coordinate system. To do that, sometimes the easiest way would be to go to the line command, type in 0, 0, because that's where my line starts, and I click anywhere on the screen. That gives me a beginning of 0, 0 to whatever point I clicked on the screen. Now I have the center of my origin, which is 0, 0, where I can start drawing my circle. I use the circle command. I select the origin or the endpoint. If you do not see that endpoint, what you want to do is right click on your OSNAP, make sure you have endpoint turned on. And if you're in this place at the same time, you might as well turn on midpoint, center. You don't need nod. Intersect's pretty good, and perpendicular is pretty good too. So you need all those. I'm drawing on a B-size paper. It's up to you. Well, I mean, oh no, the drawing I have is a B-size template.
Yeah, but
I'm drawing on a model. Yeah, always draw on a model. That's what I recommend. Circle, you select that endpoint. You can see that it snaps on and even specifies that it is an endpoint that it's snapping to. I click, I move my mouse, and we're going to type in the dimension, which is a radius of 114. So I'm guessing this is millimeters, but it's alright. We can work with that. And so right now we are set at radius. That's our default. If we want to type in diameter, we would click here at diameter or type in D enter. And we're going to type in as 114 as specified. So we have it at the 0, 0, 0 coordinate system, so this line is no longer needed. It was used just for reference or for construction, if you want to call it that. So I'm going to delete that line. So I selected the item, right, and click delete. Your other option is you can select the item, right click, and erase.
What was the radius again?
Radius is 114. No, 114.
114.
Or you can do 1.14, but then every time I give you a number, you'll have to put in a point there. Because there's really keep on recording. Our next step will be to create this distance from this circle to this circle. This drawing specifies 303, but we're going to do a 3.03. We're just moving 2 decimal points for everything. So it was 114. We're going to put 1.14. So now I go to align command. I select the center of the circle. So the center should be shown, even specified. If you don't have that on, again, right click on OSNAP, make sure your center is active, and if that is active, make sure your OSNAP is active. Otherwise, you won't be able to snap it to the center of the circle. We select the center of the circle. We make a vertical line. Right now you can see that my line is not completely vertical, 90 degrees, so I have to make sure my ortho is on, allowing me to make perfectly 90-degree lines. And we go up 3.03, just like the drawing states. Second, we need a circle up here. Actually, it's going to be 0.27 radius. So that's our next step. We do a circle command. We select the endpoint. Again, it has to snap on. And we're going to type in 0.2, what was it, 27?
That's really small.
Yeah. I'm sorry? So 0.27. And actually what I just realized is we're drawing the inside circle, which is fine. It's not a big issue. We just have to offset each out. I'll give you guys specific dimensions for that too. Let's see if I can. This is the original drawing. We have a dimension here. That's 0.26 and another 0.28 this way. Actually, that should be the same. So we'll just do the first one, 0.26. So we have something like this. The center line is no longer needed. It's just for reference to give us a location for the second circle. What we need to do next is create lines from the quadrants of this top circle going directly down. To do that, you want to make sure your O stamp quadrant is on. Right now mine's off. Not sure you guys can see it's not highlighted. So I'm turning it on. Now it's on. Now I use the line command. I scroll my mouse next to like the end, like there is no endpoint for a circle, but this is a quadrant, left quadrant, and this is the right quadrant. So we're going to start with our left one, go directly straight down, making sure ortho is on. Doesn't matter what distance, as long as it's past the second circle. And we're going to do both sides like that. So you should have something like this. Get this thing done. So basically, our next step is we have these two lines. We have the top circle, the bottom circle. What we want to do is use the trim command. Now, to use the trim command, I always recommend selecting everything. You go to trim, you select the entire object, if not more. You click enter or space to specify that you do not want to select any more items. And then you select things you want to trim, which is going to be the top circle. We're trimming this a little. And we're trimming these parts right here. We end up with a keyhole just like this. Our next step will be to create a fillet from this corner here. Now the drawing doesn't specify that, which is an issue, which I should have done, checked. But we're going to create a dimension. I'm going to find out exactly that radius. It's going to be 1.62. So we go back to our drawing. We go to fillet command. It's going to be 1.62. Enter. We select this line and this line. And we do the same thing on the other side. Now, if that looks too small for you and you want to change it, I'll be more than happy to let you change that. Not sure why mine was such a small one. I did have 1.62. I can check this again by going to my annotate dimensions. I'm going to check it. Actually, it came out wrong. I don't know, it's 0.25 for some reason. So I'm going to delete these. I'm going to do that again. Go to fillet. Make sure that I have radius selected. So I type in R enter or I select.
I can't find any more of this small
Okay.
stuff. They got the
Okay.
big stuff. You can reprint it to the.
Here. So fillet, R for radius, or you type in R enter, and you type in the radius was 1.62. So 1.62, enter. We create that. Looks way better than before. And we have our keyhole. So what we want to do next is we're going to offset these lines to create the center line and the outer line. The first we're going to offset 0.26 twice actually. To do that, you go to your offset command, which is right here. Go offset, you're going to type in the distance of 0.26, and you're going to select these lines and you're just going to offset them out. So you have to point on the outside of the key, otherwise it will offset inside, which we don't want to do. Once you do that once, you do it again. That would create the two exterior lines that we're looking for. And at that point, we also change these lines, the center lines, from object lines to center lines. So you go to your layers, and we change it to center. Should be red, usually, or yellow. Those are usually preferred colors for center lines. Now, at this point, you can put the annotation of all the specified sizing. It's up to you how you want to do that. If you want to start with the center and just give it a thickness, which is usually what we want to do. So you got to do the center as specifying the distances, diameters, and radiuses of everything. So you're gonna need all these. I'm gonna change my dimension style because it's showing these marks a little bit too big. So sure, just give me a second. I gotta do this first. So I'm gonna format dimension style. You guys don't have to do this. I do because I need to change the marking size. Mark. Don't worry about it. I'm just doing it for myself, so it looks better. So make sure you have all the dimensions. As you can see, I am probably missing one, which you may not have caught, which is the distance between the two circles, which is 3.03, which we agreed with. So that gives us the full size of the drawing. We know the radius of this, but there's one more thing we need to know is the thickness of the blue lines. We know the size of the red one, which is the center, but we don't know how thick this material is. So creating one dimension gives you a full thickness of it will help the next person who's designing this or making it in the shop know what size you're looking for as you make this wire. We'll call it a wire keyhole. Just dimension it from this line to this line, endpoint to endpoint, and we'll give you that thickness. You can also do it on the other side or anywhere else. Really, you can even dimension from circle to circle and get that 52. But that's harder to understand. This is a lot easier. So that's why I prefer doing it from vertical lines or horizontal lines instead of circles. Kind of hard to show thickness on a circle. These are all the dimensions you really need to create this drawing, and especially since we were missing them from the original. So this is good to have. So if anybody wants to design this again in the future, we'll have the exact correct dimensions. I'll make sure to save this as a PDF for future reference. To create the 3D object, we will make a copy of this entire object, including the dimensions if you have to. So we go to your Home tab, we go to Copy. We copy from any location from here, just about there. I mean, it doesn't have to be too far, as long as it doesn't show up in the viewport, which we'll get into later. Then you delete the dimensions because you no longer need those, and you have two drawings, one with dimensions, one without. Once everybody's cut up to this, we will make this a 3D object. Alright, so this part will be probably the very advanced part, really hard, so please keep note of this, everybody, even the advanced people. What we want to do is we want to create this segmented line. You can see each part is separate into one single line. To do that, we need to use the polyline edit command, which is called, in short, is pedit. So there is no tool for that. We actually have to type it out. So you type in pedit. So if you see it on the board, where my command bar, I'm typing in pedit. Another thing is that you do not have to select the command bar to type in things. All you have to do is just type it as is. You don't have to click down here to type stuff in your command bar. That's the old school way. This is the new school, which is 2008 and up, is just type it out. Saves you time. So you type in pedit, you click enter. You select M for multiple, or you type in M, enter. You select all parts of this center line. Do not skip any. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 parts, I believe. Click enter. It's going to ask you, do you want to convert lines, arcs, and splines to polylines? The default is set at yes, so you just click enter. Next part is you type in J for join. You want to join these polylines together. They're still separate little pieces. We want to put them together, so we're going to click J for join. Where you type it in. The entering fuzz distance, do not worry about that. That is too advanced. So we just click enter. and then we click enter to escape from that command bar. At this point, my center line becomes one piece. When I click on it, it's just one piece. To prove that to you, I can just select it, which I would recommend everybody do, and just move it over. If the entire piece moves over, that is you're perfect. You're set correctly. That's what you want. So make sure you have that. I'll walk around and make sure everybody has that. So we have this p-edit line set up already. It's one actual line. We know the thickness of this material, which we showed a dimension of 0.52. So we're going to create a circle. It doesn't matter exactly where we place it. It's just for a reference. We create a circle near this polyline, and the diameter is 0.52. Or if you want, you can do the radius, which is 0.26. But I do 0.52 because that is our diameter. Next step will be to use the revolve command. If you are not in 3D modeling or 3D basics, it's alright. Well, you don't have to be because this is pretty simple. We can just go to the draw command, draw tab, modeling, and there is a revolve option. Actually, I'm sorry, this is a mistake of mine. Sweep command, that's the one we want to work. Revolve would actually revolve around an axis. Sweep is actually you take an object and you sweep it through a path. So our object is our circle, our path is this polyline. So again, draw, tab, modeling, sweep. Also you can type it in, but that's a lot of work. So we do the sweep command. The command bar will ask you specify what select object to sweep. So this is the object that we're going to be using to sweep, which is going to be our circle. So we select our circle, then we click enter because we do not want to select any more objects. So we click enter, and your next option will be a sweep path. So at this point, our path is our p-edit line, polyline edit line. So we select that line, and it automatically creates a 3D object. Very simple, very easy. To get a better visual view of this, I would recommend we go to View, change it from 2D wire to conceptual, where you will see your 3D object. Next step, after we have our 3D object, we can delete these 2D blue lines. You actually don't need these. So we have a 2D design and we have a 3D design. Exactly what we're looking for. We have our layers set up so we do have a center line. And now what we need to do is go to our title block. If you used your title block, I hope you did. If not, you're in trouble. Anyways, we got our title block. You can't see the object. That's okay. Maybe the viewport is not pointing in the right direction. That happens a lot. So we're going to double click inside our viewport. And we're going to either type in, we can type in zoom, Z, enter, A, enter for all, or extents. Both should work. It brings out the drawing. Be in the corner. You move it so that you will see only the 2D drawing. We don't want to see the 3D drawing yet because we want to see the 3D in like a isometric view. And if you want this to be into scale, somewhat that if somebody had a ruler and had it printed out, they could actually measure it out. You can change down here your viewport scale to like 1:1. Or if your drawing was bigger, you could change it to something different. But if you use this scale system, it's going to allow them to scale it correctly from your drawing, printed drawing. I'm going to stretch this viewport down because it's too big, because I want to place a 3D viewport in here. To do that, I stretch that down, and I'm going to go to View, Viewports, New Viewport, and I'm going to create a single viewport. I'm going to just create a box from this endpoint to this endpoint, at which I'll double click inside. I move so I can see the 3D object only. I change my view to like an isometric corner view. That's not the best one, so I'm going to rotate it around. I like that. Doesn't have to be this shape. this way. Oops. Undo. That looks good. You can play around to get what you prefer. Actually, right there is a view cube, or you can go to your view and play with these, or you can hold Control and rotate it around until you have the right view. We put our title information in, double click to change any things you like. If you are missing data, text, what you can go to is annotate, do a multiple text. You just create a box following the box that's provided, and then you type in whatever you like. And that will fit that box. If it's not in the right position, of course, you can use your move command to move it a little bit lower. But be careful, if you have O-snap on, it's going to cause some problems. And that concludes this project.